So we start this news hour with the war in Ukraine. Russian media are reporting a Ukrainian rocket attack has damaged a dam. That could lead to catastrophic flooding. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned last month the destruction of the Nova Kakhovka dam in a Russian-held territory would cause a, quote, large-scale disaster for nearby towns and cities. The 30-meter-high dam holds back 18 million cubic meters of water from the Dnipro River, which cuts through eastern Ukraine. The dam is near the city of Kherson, as you can see on this map, which Ukrainian troops have been pushing towards for weeks from the west in an effort to recapture it from Russian forces. Downstream from the dam is Russian-controlled Crimea, and it supplies water to large parts of southern Ukraine. Let's bring in Asad Beg, who's in Kryvyi Rih in central Ukraine. Asad, as best you can make out, what actually happened at this dam? What can you tell us?
Well, it's very difficult to say. What I can tell you is that the Russians first said that there were US-supplied missiles that hit that dam. The Russian media said that. They made a point of making sure that everyone knew that they were US-supplied missiles. Now, we haven't heard anything from the Ukrainians, but last month, the Russians also said Ukrainian missiles hit that dam. Now, from the Ukrainian side, there's long been concern that Russia may try to blow up that dam. In fact, last month, on the 21st of October, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in his national address, warned that Russia was plotting to blow that dam up and claimed that Russians had planted explosives, as well as urging Western powers to warn Russia not to blow up that dam because it would cause a large-scale disaster. Now, what we are hearing is that Kherson is without electricity, and the Russians are blaming an act of sabotage on power lines. That's what they're claiming. But this war has been full of information and disinformation, claim and counterclaim, and it's very difficult to say because we don't have access to the Russian-controlled territory, and the Ukrainians have been very strict on media movements in Kherson as they get ready to mount that offensive. But what I can tell you is that the Ukrainians are saying now, the Ukrainian authorities are saying that there are still 20 to 25,000 Russian soldiers on the west bank on the west side of that river, and Russian-backed authorities in Kherson have said that Ukraine is moving large numbers of tanks and armored vehicles on the Kherson axis, getting ready for that offensive. Now, the Ukrainians have been pushing forward on Kherson city, but that is very strategically and militarily important to the Russians. It's the only regional capital that they've captured since the start of the war. It's a gateway to Crimea, but also it's strategic for the Russians because if the Ukrainians get a hold of that city, and it is still a massive if, it will expose Russian troops elsewhere in the country.
Asad, update us on fighting in eastern Ukraine. What's going on there?
Well, a lot of it seems to be centered around the cities and towns of Bakhmut and Soledar. Now, the Russians have said that the Russian troops have been entering the city of Bakhmut, but the Ukrainians have just said that they are still in control and that the Ukrainian troops are unbreakable. Now, what we have heard is that there has been intense shelling taking place, that there's been also trench fighting taking place, but the Russians have been trying to capture the city of Bakhmut for months now. I was there back in May, and there was lots of shelling taking place then. We were there just last week, and again, the Russians had edged forward but still didn't control the city of Bakhmut. And again, that is strategically important for them. It gives them access to roads to other parts of Ukraine, but also the Russians want to be seen as making advances. They have had some setbacks over the last few months with the Ukrainian offensive, and they've lost some territory, and the Russians are keen to show that they are still pushing forward. But as of yet, what we're hearing is both sides claiming that they're moving forward. The Russians are saying that they're entering Bakhmut. The Ukrainians are saying that they're still in control.
Asad Beg reporting from Kryvyi Rih. Thank you very much.